What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I just want to give my quick thoughts on some of the events from the previous episode of All American since we're on hiatus for the next month. I know I'm late, but I was originally going to give my thoughts on the season so far until I realized most of the things I needed to talk about I pretty much already pointed out in my two previous All American videos, and the few small details I need to talk about now I can just talk about in this video. Before we get into it, was I the only one who felt like we missed an episode between episode 7 and 8? Now, episode 7 was the Vegas flashback, and episode 8 is the aftermath of episode 6. So everything definitely felt kind of weird, like we're missing something. Like, how did Jordan know Olivia and Spencer had feelings for each other? Liv most than likely told him off screen, but the episode definitely had me feeling like I missed something. Anyway, I was surprised at how well Jordan took the news of Spencer and Olivia having feelings for each other. I was expecting Jordan to semi-freak out, telling Liv that Spencer is like a brother to them, and for Liv to correct him and say, no, you think of him as a brother and she doesn't. But Jordan was pretty cool about it, and he told Liv what we all have been saying for the past 3 seasons. Go get your man, sis. Also, I don't know how many people peeped this, but it looks like the writers might be pairing Jordan up with Layla. I know I'm not the only one who sees it. I actually been peeping this for a minute. Remember back in season 2 at the cotillion, Layla was still suffering with her depression, and Jordan convinced her to go into the cotillion, and he even offered to escort her to her table. The scene stuck out to me at the moment, but was soon forgotten until I saw the Vegas episode. And in the Vegas episode, there was a moment between the two where they were talking about Spencer and Simone, and even though I peeped a little small something between the two, I just thought I was tripping. But one time is just a one-time thing. Twice is a coincidence. But 3 times, the writers definitely have something up their sleeves. Jordan telling Layla that she's the strongest person he knows and giving her a hug was all the confirmation I needed. Granted to you, I believe guys and girls can just be friends and nothing more, but let's just say I have a feeling that Jordan and Layla will be a thing by the end of season 4. Especially with Simone leaving the show. But y'all, even though I ship it, I can admit it's low-key kinda wild. It's like everybody in that Crenshaw and Beverly Hills crew have been with each other at some point or another. Asher has been with Layla and Liv. Liv has been with Asher and Spencer. Spencer has been with Kia, Layla, and Olivia. Olivia is friends with both Layla and Kia. Spencer is also friends with Chris, who dated Olivia at one point. Asher has some obvious feelings for Vanessa, who is dating JJ. So why not put Jordan and Layla together? I ship it. And side note, are the writers just not going to bring up the fact that Spencer and Kia were close to getting back together last season? Not to mention they slept together? So is this like a thrown away plot that we're just supposed to forget? But let's talk about Coop for a second. My first question before anything is, where are Coop's parents? For the most part of this season, Coop hasn't been taking school as seriously as she needs to. She was in jeopardy of repeating her junior year, and now she's trying to drop out of school, and I'm wondering why the counselors haven't at least tried to contact her parents yet. In this past episode, Coop was announced as a nominee for Homecoming Queen along with Kia, and honestly, Coop has a good chance of winning. Her music is already starting to take off, and her being a nominee for Homecoming Queen is also good promo for her music. But she has no interest in taking advantage of it because she feels that school is hindering her music career. She literally has 8 months or less left of senior year? I'm more than sure she can juggle having a music career and finishing up high school within 8 months. You literally spent 12 years in school just to drop out right when you're about to cross the finish line. Somebody need to talk to her. And if Spencer does end up talking to her, which she most likely will because y'all know Spencer, he gotta throw on his cape and be the superhero. I just hope he doesn't stress himself out over it. Spencer needs to learn to let Coop make her own mistakes. I understand that's his best friend and you want to tell your friends right from wrong, like you're supposed to do, but there comes a point in time where you just gotta let them touch the stove and burn their own hand so they can learn not to do it again. Now let's make our way over to Vanessa, Asher, and JJ. I know a lot of y'all don't like Vanessa, but I'm gonna be real. I don't think she's all that bad. Don't get me wrong, I definitely got my eye on her, but for the most part, Vanessa is playing her cards right. Vanessa and Asher are pretty much telling everyone that they just connected this summer and there's nothing more to it. Now I know I sometimes have trouble reading the room, but I know I'm not that crazy. Vanessa was high-key flirting with Asher, especially in that scene where she was asking him out to the movies and then gave him his favorite breakfast. Then tells him she took a bite from it. The fact that she feels so comfortable around him to the point where she's taking a bite of his food and rubbing the crumbs off of his chest while being all giggly is proof enough that she does have some feelings for him. And Asher isn't tripping. When Asher turned her invite down, she tells him that she just asked him out as a friend. She also tells him that he just broke up with Olivia and she isn't anyone's rebound. Oh, and she makes it very clear that she's dating JJ and tells Asher that she's interested in JJ, which is weird because she hasn't seemed interested in JJ in the slightest all season. But man, y'all, Asher really is terrible at reading women. How do you equate Coach Montez changing your position temporarily to whatever you and Vanessa have going on? Now let's get on Layla for a minute. Layla needs to get off her high horse and realize she isn't innocent. She knew Olivia liked Spencer, and like Olivia said, she tried to hook them up until Layla realized she wanted Spencer all to herself. Olivia read Layla for filth, and y'all know Layla is like an ice queen. When sis is mad, she gets cold. I forgot how she told Liv that she didn't think her substance abuse was a big deal, but I definitely didn't forget about that time Layla set Jordan and Olivia up. Remember back in season 2 when Layla threw the twins a surprise birthday party? And then she texted Laura a picture of them partying, and then she had the nerve to disrespect Miss Laura? Just the fact that she would set Jordan and Liv up and disrespect their own mother just goes to show y'all Layla doesn't value her friendship with Olivia, or even Jordan for that matter. But moving back onto this situation, she does have every right to be mad at Spencer. I mean, the guy did confess his love to her best friend, but then when he got rejected, he hooked up with her and led her on when they got back to Cali. I can understand her wanting to be mad at Olivia too, because this is the second time this has happened, and Liv should have told her what happened in Vegas, but she needs to stop acting like she never did Olivia dirty, and she needs to stop constantly hanging that Asher situation over Liv's head every time she's mad at her. Now let's talk about Grace for a minute. We haven't seen Miss Grace date anyone since Micah back in season 1, so a new love interest is long overdue. I think we all see some type of sparks flying between Miss Grace and Principal Carter. No? It's just me? Okay. Grace can't stand him right now, but I can definitely see their relationship evolving into a love-hate relationship and then developing into something more than that. Carter was pretty much dragging his feet when it came to Jabari's transcripts until Grace had to set him straight, which is kind of messed up because you're the principal. This is your job. Your job is to make sure that all of your students are on track to graduating. So whatever beef that you have from the past, that has nothing to do with these kids. But moving back to Grace, even if we don't see Miss Grace dating anybody, that's fine too, because characters don't need to be in relationships to have great storylines, but I do want the writers to give her more of something to work with other than being the voice of reason. I really want to know what happened between Billy and the principal back in the day though. I hope we get a flashback soon because Principal Carter is telling Billy he put him in the hospital and Billy is saying that never happened. So either Billy is lying through his teeth or either Principal Carter really doesn't remember who actually put him in the hospital. I told y'all the writers were not letting up off our necks when it comes to Spencer and Olivia. After avoiding Spencer for I don't know how long, Olivia goes to him and she gives Spencer a ride home. During this car ride home, Olivia finally tells Spencer that she loves him too. Now, Olivia has been drinking, so keep that in mind. After Olivia tells Spencer she's in love with him, Spencer grabs her hand and tells her to pull over the car because he's been waiting all summer and he ain't trying to wait for another second. Mind you, the entire time they're having this conversation, Collide is playing in the background, foreshadowing everything that's happening. At this point, Collide is Spencer and Olivia's couple song, and it needs to be played every time these two are on the screen together. Olivia up here cheesing and grinning from ear to ear, and she ends up hitting a parked car. And y'all know what this girl gonna ask him?
Oh my god, you have to switch seats with me before the cops come.
What?
She asked this black man to switch seats with her before the police came because she was drinking and hit a parked car. And I'm like, what? Olivia is a biracial rich girl from Beverly Hills. Her mother is white and she's a lawyer. The worst thing that would have happened to her is that she'll be sent back to rehab for a couple of weeks. I hate to say it, y'all, but I don't see Spencer and Olivia just bouncing back from this. At least not anytime soon. I feel like Spencer's going to tell Olivia the same thing he told Layla about her needing to be single so she can get herself together, and when she's ready, he'll be available. And we all see how that went. Spencer and Olivia are already starting their relationship off with a lie. If Spencer does end up switching seats with her, Spence will end up resenting Olivia. I would have rather the episode end after the accident with Olivia telling Spencer that she won't be able to pass the drug test and have Spencer be the one to offer to switch seats. Or just have the episode end with Olivia telling Spencer that she has been drinking again and she might fail the breathalyzer test, ending the episode there. The fact that Liv asked him just doesn't sit right with me at all. But what do you guys think? Do you think Spencer and Olivia can get past this? What do you think will happen the rest of the season? Don't forget to leave a comment down below, and let's get the discussion going.